Now, okay, this was not how I expected things to go down. How's it going, everybody? It's Alex here, and if you're like me, then your mind was probably quite literally blown from the season 3 finale of The Boys. Part of this is because the TV show has so far deviated quite a lot from events that occur in the comics, and today I'm going to explain how and why certain things are different and where things might lead to in season 4. But before I do this, remember to leave a like and, most importantly, subscribe. Alright, now moving on. So in this episode, we see several story arcs come to conclusion, while we also see new ones starting to take form. One of these is the obvious relationship between Homelander and his biological son, Ryan. Now, as we know, Ryan has been kept far from Homelander, and as far as we knew, he didn't want anything to do with his biological superdad after the climactic ending of season 2. However, in a turn of events, it's revealed that Ryan supposedly had no ill feelings towards Homelander at all, as he was just scared that Homelander was angry at him for accidentally killing his mother. In a scene that's both sort of sweet but also kind of disturbing, we see Homelander and Ryan come to terms, and Homelander here actually shows off some very dad-like mannerisms. This relationship that is building between the two is shown yet again when Butcher, Maeve, and Soldier Boy enters Vought Tower to kill Homelander, where Ryan then shows up again as Homelander is trying to get Soldier Boy, who's also Homelander's biological father, to join with his true family. And then, during the ending, Homelander shows off his son to the world, and in a surprising plot twist, Homelander straight up murders a Starlight supporter who threw a bottle at Ryan. Whereupon Ryan gives off this cheeky little smile, which could tell us that Ryan is slowly starting to transform into possibly the spitting image of his father and his grandfather. Now, of course, this is just what we can assume so far, because unlike a lot of the events in the season, Ryan does not appear in the comics, or well, he dies just after getting born by Becca, so he unfortunately doesn't have an arc that we can look at for comparison, which means that literally anything can happen from here on out. We also get a closure on both A-Train's story arc with his brother, whom proceeds to kick A-Train out from his house, and we also see the fallout of the relationship between Deep and his ex-girlfriend, who proceeds to demolish Deep's reputation on TV. Ashley finally stands up for herself after serving as a lapdog to Homelander this entire time, as she deletes the footage of Maeve surviving Soldier Boy's explosion. Speaking of which, Maeve's story arc has a really surprising conclusion, because in this episode we finally get that raw fight between her and Homelander that we've been waiting for. Now, in the comics, their fight was pretty short-lived, as Maeve literally gets decapitated by Homelander off-page, showcasing the immense difference in power between the two. But in the show, Maeve is quite literally kicking his ass for a while, and while Homelander is still leagues above her in raw power, Maeve's fighting abilities are top-notch compared to his. Now, I'll be honest here, seeing Maeve get a happy ending is really satisfying, and I was not expecting her to survive the finale at all with regards to how her story ends in the comics. However, the same cannot be said for our favorite ninja assassin, Black Noir, as Homelander, despite still caring about his old teammate, kills him for not telling him about Soldier Boy being Homelander's biological father.
Why didn't you tell me?
Now, Noir's death is pretty gruesome, but more importantly, it's actually pretty sad that he's been building up the courage to face his old team member once and for all, only to be killed by someone he seems to have considered a friend. And why Noir's death is so extremely important is because, and spoiler alert for the comics here, Black Noir actually turns out to be Homelander's genetic copy in the comics, and is actually the one who kills Homelander in the very end. But as we've seen in the previous episodes, Black Noir is absolutely not a copy of Homelander, and the fact that he dies could drastically change the story going forward. Now, after the chaotic finale, we also see that Soldier Boy survived his chest explosion and is now under supervision by the US government, and they're keeping him in a sort of nuclear capsule. So question is if he's gonna make a return in the future, which is something I definitely think he will, because introducing Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy is one of the most genius ideas that the show creators have come up with so far.
I gotta tell you, I know that you think these lines work, but
Oh, they do. Just ask Lonnie Anderson.
He's definitely already a fan favorite, and considering that he's super powerful, it'd be stupid to kill him off just after one season. But now, since he's alive, this could mean that we'll actually finally see Homelander and him come together in Season 4, despite their confrontation in Vought Tower. They didn't end up fighting each other after all. Another cool thing we saw in episode 8 was how Kimiko seemingly finally embraced her superpowered side. She's always been a person that's been struggling with the fact that she's not a regular human, but it appears that she's finally fine with that. I really loved her little dance, clearly taken from Dirty Dancing, as she then proceeds to completely wreck several soldiers. Another cool thing here is that we finally get to see both Frenchie and Kimiko wearing basically the same outfits from the comics, like the black leather jacket for Kimiko and the goggles for Frenchie. But now, let's get back to some heavy stuff. In this episode, we also see Deep murdering the closest candidate for the vice president post, probably on the orders of Homelander, as the scene before this is a pretty tense one where Homelander tells Deep, A-Train, and Ashley that he doesn't need them. Speaking of Ashley, we also see that she's been pulling her hair out to the point where she's almost turned bald and has to wear a wig, which clearly speaks volumes of the stress you'd experience while working for Homelander. Now, getting back to the VP candidate being murdered, this sort of mirrors what happens in the comics. And again, spoiler alert, as the murder of the vice president was the spark that led to the explosive and brutal finale where Homelander forcibly takes over the White House and murders the president. Now, it is possible that this could still happen, as we then see Rebecca Newman getting picked as the vice president candidate instead, and from what we know this season, Miss Newman is quite clearly Homelander's puppet for now. Question is Stan Edgar the one working from the shadows? Well, that remains to be seen. Butcher also gets informed at the end that he only has about 18 months or so left to live because of his frequent use of temporary V. This could also play into his story in the comics, where he sort of goes off the deep end. But I'll just leave that be for now. Anyway, the final episode of The Boys Season 3 was absolutely incredible, and I for sure did not expect all the twists and turns we got with the story. Marvin finally opens up to his daughter, and it seems that he's finally made peace with the past about Soldier Boy killing his family, but that might just be because he thinks Soldier Boy is dead. However, Soldier Boy is still alive. Black Noir, though, is dead. Maeve gets to be a regular person again and has her happy ending, while Ryan could end up becoming the new and improved Homelander in Season 4. Meanwhile, Homelander himself is seeing a huge surge of support straight up after murdering a protester. So, chances are that we'll see him completely terrorize the opposition while his supporters cheer him on. I gotta tell you, The Boys just keeps getting better and better with every season, and I for sure cannot wait for Season 4. Anyway, that's all I got for today. See you next time.